We should be live like any second now. Saying
Awesome.
we're live. All right. Okay. Let's see. Are we live now? Okay. We should be good. There we go. Hello. And we've already got people waiting for us here. Hello. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday evening, where we have a very special webinar. We've got a great guest with us today. He'll be hosting this webinar. His name is Connor Gillivan, the CMO of FreeUp. Thanks for joining us today, Connor.
Yeah, Jason, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to chat with everyone today and share some knowledge on how everyone can start setting their rates and make those rates that they want as a freelancer.
Yeah, I'm excited to get this started. Aren't you guys excited? If you guys are watching, if you can hear, you guys can hear me. I hope you can hear me anyway. But if you're watching right now, please let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Just say hi and where you're watching from. And I'd really appreciate it if you shared this with others as well. There is that share button that you can hit. I'm sure a lot of people would really benefit from learning about this topic, how to properly set your rates as a freelancer to maximize your earnings. And if you've seen the email and the post I made, we as Filipinos, we usually, let me just mute my Slack here. We usually set our rates too low, oftentimes like half the amount that it should be. So I'm really excited to be hear more about this topic. And if you guys have any questions, please just type them in the comments section. And we'll answer them later. We'll keep track of the questions and we'll answer them later. Also, if you share this, I'll share with you a PDF summary of everything Connor is talking about today. So that you can have it, you can have that right in front of you. We'll design it, make it nice for you. So if you share this, hit that share button and comment that you shared this so that we can get you that PDF right away. All right, are you ready to go, Connor?
Yeah, let's do it. I'll share my screen here and then pull up the presentation.
Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and get started and take it away.
Awesome. All right, can you see the full screen? Does it look good from your end?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here today. It's been awesome to get to know Jason and learn a little bit more about this community. As he was starting to talk about, and as you'll see here on the first slide, we're going to talk a little bit today about how to properly set your rates as a freelancer to maximize your earnings. I think that's everyone's goal as a freelancer, is to eventually make what you want and to live that life that you envisioned before you got into freelancing. So we'll get into this a little bit. I'll give you a little bit of a background into how I've gotten into the freelancing world, and then we'll really dive into a few strategies that you can use to figure out what your optimal hourly and fixed rate can be when you're working with clients. So let's dive right into it. So the first thing, these are some questions that you can ask yourself. And as Jason said, it sounds like a lot of people coming from the Philippines may not necessarily be valuing their rates or their time or their skills at the highest level. So, kind of ask yourself these questions. Do you feel like you aren't making what you want? If there's any inkling of a yes in there, then you should take some of these strategies and rethink how you're setting your rates. And then the second one is, do you just struggle to set those hourly and fixed rates with clients, which is definitely possible. I've worked with hundreds of freelancers, and even when they're getting started and then as they grow, I know that a lot of them have struggled to figure out what is the optimal rate. When does a client think I'm charging too much? Am I losing clients because I'm charging too much or too little? So there's a lot of things that go into it, and we're going to dive into all of that. So just a quick bit about myself, so you kind of understand where I'm coming from and how I got into this world of freelancing. I started my first business about 8 years ago while I was still in college. I met my business partner, who I continue to work with today. we were both very ambitious and interested in being business owners. And our first company was selling products on Amazon.com. And while we were growing that business, we ended up learning about this whole world of freelancing and being able to hire people from all around the world. And we started using websites like Upwork and Odesk and Elance and Fiverr and Freelancer. And we were using all these places, and we ended up meeting a ton of amazing freelancers, a lot of them actually who were in the Philippines. There's a few people that we've actually worked with for over 6 years now that are from the Philippines and run their full freelance business. And it was just an amazing experience. It really led us into this world and made us realize that you can run an entire business just hiring freelancers rather than having an office and having employees and going that route. So it was really eye-opening for us. Just a couple other things. I've hired hundreds of freelancers. Right now, I have a team of about 30 freelancers that we work with on a regular basis to run our company, FreeUp. And I've written a lot about it in my own book that was published last year. So I have a lot of interest and a lot of passion in the space. So that's why I'm excited to be talking to you today about freelancing. So let's just go over what we'll learn today really quickly. First, I'm going to walk you through a process that you can use to research competitor rates. So this is going to be looking at other freelancers from your location, from your same experience, from your same skill set, and you'll be able to get an understanding of the average rate that those people are charging across the internet. The second thing that we're going to talk about is how mentally to figure out what hourly rates you should charge to your clients. And we'll go through a few factors that I think are important to think about as you make that decision. We'll also talk about hourly versus fixed rates. So, when should you be charging one versus the other? And is it okay to use both? And how you kind of use that in your business. And then finally, we'll just go over what skills you can learn to actually increase your rate over time. And then, how you can increase your rate over time and what that process looks like. So first, I think this is going to be a good activity that everyone can do, even, as I'm talking about it, but definitely take this down. And I'm sure Jason will relay these slides to you afterwards. But this is going to be a good activity you can do within about 30 minutes, and you'll have a good understanding of what others in your freelance industry are charging. So let's kind of go through this example. Let's name your skill set first. So everyone listening is going to have a slightly different skill set. I'm going to use an example of a social media manager. So this is someone that's going to work with clients. Maybe they're going to be posting content for them on a regular basis and maybe even creating that content for them.
Yeah. And sorry to interrupt, but you guys watching right now, I know we've got 165 people right now live. And for all of you watching, we have the skill set social media manager here, but I want you guys to share what your skill set is. Are you a virtual assistant? Are you a writer? Type it in the comments so that we also know, and then you can go along with this activity as Connor's walking us through.
Awesome. Yeah. And Jason, feel free to jump in at any time if you have anything that you want to share with everyone that's watching.
All right, got it.
Cool. Awesome. So let's use social media manager as an example. And what my suggestion is, and what we're trying to achieve here, is we want to get an average hourly rate that others similar to yourself are charging online right now. So I went ahead and named out 4 different websites here. And I'm pretty confident that you can get into those sites and search the rates of freelancers without even having an account. So I said, go to Upwork, go to peopleperhour.com, hubstafftalent.com, and then fiverr.com. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to each of these. We're going to open them up. We're going to go to the area where you can search for freelancers, and we're going to go ahead and search social media manager. And then since a lot of the people in this chat are from the Philippines, you're also going to want to filter it so that it's only people from the Philippines, so you can see what those individuals are charging. You're going to go through and kind of look at some profiles. maybe you go ahead and search a few different keywords. So social media manager, social media, Facebook manager, Twitter manager. You may search a few of these so you get a variety of people running these profiles. And then what I suggest is collect 25 people's rates from these sites, put them into a small Google spreadsheet, right? So are going to list them out. So $12 an hour, $15 an hour, $8 an hour, etc. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to highlight all of them, or use a cell at the very bottom, sum them, and then take an average. And the goal at the end of doing this is that you now have a small sample size of people that are similar to you, offering similar skill sets, and you can see what the average hourly rate is that they're charging to clients on a regular basis. So this, I think, can be really helpful because it kind of opens your eyes to what other people in the industry are charging for their skill sets and for what you're offering. And it's something that you can use then in your decision-making process to figure out what you should be charging to clients. So we'll come back to that in the next slide as well, but we can talk about that more later if anyone has questions, but I think it could be really useful for everyone. Awesome. So the next thing you want to determine, so you've done this research, you have an understanding of what others are charging in your skill set, your industry. Then you want to figure out, how am I going to charge my clients? What hourly rate should I be charging? And there's a number of factors that go into this decision. It's not just as cut and dry as taking that average and then applying that as your own rate. I think there's a number of things that go into it. So the first one is your personal wants and needs. So you as a freelancer, you may have a family, you may have a life that you're looking to support. There's a certain amount of money that you're interested in earning on a weekly or monthly basis. So you personally need to think about that and figure out what is your actual wants. What are your needs as a freelancer, so that you can really understand, hey, if I start making this much money, I'm going to be really happy. My family's going to be happy. I'm going to be supported, and I'm going to be in a great situation. So that's the first one. Maybe you come up with a rate of $15 an hour. Again, this is just an example, right? So that's where you're going to be really happy. You're working 40 hours a week. That's what you're making per week, per month, and you're really good with that. So that would be kind of your ideal rate. Then you want to go ahead and look at the industry research. So those 25 rates that you just found going across different websites, maybe the average was $12 an hour. So it's a little bit lower than what your ideal rate is, but it's good to know, right? You want to factor that into your decision-making process. And then a few other things that go into it is, how long are you spending on the project with the client? So from my understanding and from my experience, if it's a very quick project that's not taking up a lot of your time and isn't offering too much consistency with what you'll be making with that client, I think you can charge a little bit higher on those types of projects. If it's going to be, hey, I just need this for 2 weeks and then I'm going to be moving on to something else. I think in those situations, you can offer a little bit of a higher rate. And then if it's going to be more of a long-term deal where, hey, I want to hire you for 6 months to a year, and I really want to lock you in and make you a big part of my business and having it grow going forward, maybe that's one where you go a little bit lower just so that you can land the client. And then you're able to really have a very consistent set of income going with that one client for a long period of time. So those are a few things to think about. But my advice kind of at the end of the day is choose a rate that you're going to display on your profiles, on wherever it is online that you're very comfortable with. So if I'm choosing between the industry average and then the personal wants and needs, I encourage you to go with what is going to be best for you personally, what's going to be best for your family and what you're going to be earning. And then as you approach clients and as you start to talk to them, be open to negotiating, be open to seeing where there's going to be a good fit, but also don't get pushed around. If you're 15 and they come back to you at 7.5, that's not going to work for you. And be okay to say no to clients sometimes if it just doesn't make sense for your rate. Like Jason said, he was mentioning at the beginning that it seems like a lot of Filipino freelancers are, only getting paid maybe half of what they're actually worth. Be strong to what you think you're worth. You're going to find clients out there that will be willing to pay you. And if you're a great freelancer and you're great at communicating and really have that skill set, you're going to be able to charge what you want and what is going to make most sense for you personally.
Yeah, and I totally agree that as Filipinos, our culture is a little bit more passive than more of the Western culture. So we have a tendency to get pushed around. And what I see happening a lot is that, Filipinos and Southeast Asianers in general, when a client asks, like you said, $15 down to $750, sometimes they say, you know what, I'll just go ahead and take it. And it, instead of being like, as a client, because I hire freelancers as well, instead of being impressed with the freelancer, the way I'd see it is I would feel that they lose credibility and that they lose professionalism when they allow themselves to be devalued like that. So you want to be able to maintain that professionalism and that level of integrity. And if you would agree to $7.50 an hour, maybe your hourly rate shouldn't be $15 in the first place. It probably should be lower than that. But yeah, you're setting on.
Yeah, something to go off of that too. This is just kind of my personal beliefs when hiring freelancers, and you won't run into this with every client you have, but a big question that I always ask and I make sure of when I'm hiring a freelancer is, are you sure that you're happy with this rate? The worst thing, some of the worst situations I've personally gotten into when hiring freelancers is one like Jason was explaining, where I maybe do offer a lower rate, the freelancer takes it, but then that freelancer ends up always looking for other work. They're not as committed to the project or the task because they just aren't happy with that rate. So that's always something to ask yourself. Are you actually happy with that rate? Are you going to be looking for other jobs, or are you going to be committed to that company? Because you do want it to work well on both sides of the table. And for myself, I understand that, but not all clients are going to think of it that way. Some of them may just be looking to get a good deal, but that's not always best for you as a freelancer. Awesome. So the next one, hourly versus fixed pricing. Something that often comes up, I would say, in the world of setting your pricing as a freelancer and also just working with clients. And I've kind of put a few things here of when to charge hourly and when to charge fixed and what makes most sense when you're doing this. But just in general, I would say when you're going against hourly and fixed pricing, for me, it really comes down to the client's preference. I think that some clients are like, I only like to do hourly. Some are, hey, I really like to find fixed pricing and just go that route. So definitely ask the client their preference when you start to get into this conversation, and also know what your preference is. If you really like hourly because you're getting paid for every single minute, every single hour that you're working for that client, then only stick with that. But if you are open to fixed pricing, where you can lock yourself into a certain price for doing a given task over a period of time, that can be advantageous too. It's just kind of knowing the difference and figuring out what your preferences are. So let's kind of go into this just quickly here. So when you may charge hourly, I think when you're first getting started with a new client, and you're kind of feeling each other out, you're seeing if it's going to be a good fit on both sides, I think it's smart to do hourly, because you know that all the hours that you're working, you're going to get paid your rate for. Whereas if you come into a relationship and you're starting to feel each other out and you got stuck at a fixed pricing that you're now working more hours and your rate is going lower and lower, you're not going to be happy with that, and it's going to lead to a poor first experience with the client. And then also charge hourly as you feel most comfortable. So myself personally, I really like hourly rates because I know the freelancer is getting paid exactly for what they're working. And then I personally, as the client, am paying for exactly what I'm getting out of them. So I'm more comfortable with hourly. And then it's kind of up to you to figure out what your comfortability is. And then charge fixed when I think there's a couple situations. So it may be a long-term continuous task. So a lot of clients will look for this. Let's say, go back to that example, a social media manager. I know that you're going to be, spending an hour each day posting and scheduling content for me. Why don't we just wrap that up into a weekly rate that goes off of your hourly rate, goes off of a set amount of hours, and that's what I'll go ahead and pay you on a weekly fixed rate. So again, that can work, but you really just want to make sure that you're not hurting yourself if you work more hours and then the fixed rate starts to, not the fixed rate, but your hourly rate starts to go down because you're working more. So just something to think about. And then you could also charge fixed if it's just a short-term project that has a set amount of hours that you and the client have agreed upon. You're both happy with it. You're happy with what you're getting paid. And it's something that's easy for you. You can do it quickly, and that's going to be all you're doing with the client for the short term. So you have options here between hourly and fixed. It's I think it comes more down to preference of yourself and then also the different clients that you meet. So I think it's smart to approach each client situation uniquely and see what their preference is, figure out what you think is going to be best, and then go ahead forward with it.
Yeah, I totally agree. It depends on the client. Like Connor prefers hourly. A lot of times I prefer fixed, and that's mostly because I have a lot of short-term projects.
Sure.
Rather than longer term ones. But yeah, talk to the client and kind of feel them out. So you have your own preference, and then clients have their own preferences as well.
Yeah, definitely. And you can, and I mean, going into this based off of the last slide, you should know what your preferred hourly rate is. And then for fixed rates, I think it's the way that you can figure out what a good rate for you is, based off of the task or the project that the client is asking you for. So if it's that, posting on my social media one time a day, you should yourself come up with an estimate of the hours you think it will take to actually complete that task throughout a week or so, and then multiply that number of hours by your hourly rate, and that should give you what your fixed price should be around. So that's kind of a way to use your hourly rate and the estimates that you think it will take to understand what a decent fixed price may be for your situation.
Yeah, and there's a comment here. Let me read the comment here from Jace Marquez. He's saying it's kind of insulting to see most of the jobs posted on Upwork with fixed prices ranging from $5 to I think $10 for tasks that require a lot of time or work.
Yeah.
So
Agreed. Yeah. So I think, like I said, a lot of clients, they may be just getting into hiring freelancers. They may have heard from another webinar or from reading something that you can get a deal and pay people a penny, per hour to get a project done. So I think in those situations, I wouldn't be insulted. They may be very misinformed and just throwing spaghetti at the wall to see if they can get one of those deals. But just move away from those. Don't try to get into contact with those types of people. I think if you do, you're going to get into a negotiation match, and it's not going to be something where you're happy with the project at the end of the day. Any other comments or thoughts?
So far, that's the only one related to this, and we have a lot of people sharing this right now. And we hit over 200 people viewing, so we got a lot of people on this.
That's awesome. All right, let's move forward here. All right, cool. So I wanted to kind of give you guys a hot list of skill sets in 2018, just so you can kind of have that. This is from I think it was an Inc. article that was recently published. And I'll kind of also, down at the bottom, you see communication, which is that's less of a concrete skill, but I want to kind of talk about that too, because it really can help you increase your rates over time. So as I asked about 3 slides ago, what is everyone's skill set? Everyone has a different skill set, and that's what you're great at. I highly encourage you to become an expert at your core skill set first, really become great at that, and then find clients, build out a portfolio of people that you can work with, and maximize your rate there. I've seen the best freelancers really focus in on one particular task or one particular skill, get best at that, become great at being a freelancer in terms of communication and working with clients, and really maximize the rate that way. This is more of a general list of skills that are in high demand right now. And so clients are willing to pay higher rates for these than I would say, normal tasks. But this is just kind of a resource for you. But don't stray away from something if you've already started to create an expertise within it and are really getting clients with it as well. So, I mean, Bitcoin cryptocurrency is just hot right now because the whole industry is blowing up. Facebook advertising is becoming very popular. So if you are in the Facebook social media world, that could be a natural progression for you. It's going to take you some time to learn, but that could be a progression for you where, if you've become great at Facebook and you want to take it to the next level, this may be a route for you, but make sure you have the right resources and the right people teaching you. Another one is just the e-commerce world, right? So there's a lot of people selling on Amazon. There's a lot of people selling on eBay. There's a lot of people with their own stores. There's a lot of tasks within these businesses that clients are looking for on a regular basis, whether it's, hey, I need you to list the product for me on my store. I need someone to help me with customer service on my store. There's a lot of these different tasks that can be great and could be a good niche for people to get into, and people are paying good rates for them right now. Graphic design is one that's been around forever. People, this is one that clients are always looking for. I would say most business owners don't have a creative design level to their skill set. So it's something they're always looking for. And then another one that I've noticed recently is MailChimp, which is an email provider. It's I've seen people paying a lot higher rates for people that have expertise in this as well. So if you're in the email marketing world and that's something that you help clients with, this could be a good software to get to know and become an expert in. But kind of outside of those general skill sets, and I don't want you to get overwhelmed with them, I think the best way that you can really increase your rate over time is to, one, is keep honing your current skill set. So if you are, back to the example, if you're a social media manager, you should be staying up to date with best practices. Facebook releases new updates on their algorithm and how things work within their system. If you're a social media manager and you're on top of that, you're going to be able to talk intelligently about that with clients. That's really great. Similarly to the other social media platforms, you should be up on top of it, reading news and really seeing new strategies that are going on out there. And then second, which I think is just the biggest with freelancing, is communication. There's nothing that can beat great communication. I myself, that's one of the biggest things that I personally look for when interviewing and hiring freelancers. And it comes down to a number of things. You should be available on, I use Skype. So if you're working with a client, it's a good habit to check in with them. So, hey, I'm starting work for this task for your business. Here's what I'm looking to accomplish. And then maybe you work a couple hours, and at the end of your shift, so to speak, you go ahead and give them a small breakdown. Hey, I was able to accomplish XYZ. I ran into a few issues here. Can you, help me in these areas? I just had a few questions. That simple communication, regularity, just setting that up is so amazing. I have all my freelancers do that, and we've created a great relationship because we're checking in with each other. We're asking each other questions. We give each other feedback, and it's just a great way to work together. And if you can create those skills, hone those abilities, clients are going to be blown away, and you're going to be able to slowly increase your rate as you work through different clients and you become more confident as a freelancer.
Okay. Well, Thanks for that. And I agree that communication it's like, I guess, an add-on for any other skill that you have.
Right.
If you're a virtual assistant, if you're a writer, if you're a social media specialist, even if you're like a web designer or a programmer,
Yep.
I'd say communication is the number one skill that you should add to your portfolio in order, if you want to increase your rates, if you want to um, have a higher rate, because clients are really looking for that communication and that trust in freelancers, because as communication builds trust. Now we have a couple of questions
Yeah, sure.
here. There were a lot of questions about specific cases on how much should I charge, if so on and so forth. If you're just joining us now, Connor discussed this earlier in the webinar. So if you're just joining us now, there is going to be a replay, so you can always rewind and go back to that. But there are just too many. We can't answer each one because each case is very, very specific to what kind of skills and experience and all that. But just rewind. If you're going to watch the replay after this and rewind to that. There were a lot of questions about communication, but you addressed that. There were also some questions about Bitcoin as a skill.
Yes, good question. So there's a number of different ways that people are hiring for this. Some of it's even over my head because I'm not an expert in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, but I know that one common way is that there have been people that are hiring freelancers that know a lot about the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market to help them trade on a regular basis. So since the Bitcoin market's going up and down so often, there are people that are looking for freelancers that are pretty much investors that help them manage their money, make money in the industry, and keep them on the cutting edge of everything that's happening. So yeah, so it's definitely, I should have put it towards the bottom of the list. I don't know why I had it at the very top, but it's one of those buzzwords right now that everyone's getting behind.
Yeah, I've got like $5 in Bitcoin right now, just for fun.
Right? Yeah. See what happens.
Yeah. If I make $1 million, sure, whatever. Yeah, but that's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Good thing to know about more.
Awesome. Anything else that you wanted to bring up there? Any other questions right now?
We don't have. We had like a question, but I'm just gonna ask this at the end.
Okay.
But yeah, it seems these are some really hot skills. As Connor has showed us, these are hot skills this year, and I agree that these have been growing. The demand for these skills is growing. Well, I was gonna save this to the end, but is it okay, Connor, if I make a small announcement?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So FreeUp and WFHR, we've been working closely together, and we have a few announcements at the end about that relationship. But one of the things we've been doing is me and Connor have been in communication about the hot skills, as you might put it, in the freelance world. So based on the information he's given me, we are adding a couple of these things to our virtual assistant bootcamp course. We're adding an e-commerce module to our VA Bootcamp Accelerated, and we're adding Facebook advertising to our VA Bootcamp Complete, and these are being added for free. And we're adding some other skill tutorials to Accelerated as well. But so these are being added for free. So all existing students will get this, and if you enroll, of course, you're going to get this as well. So just
wow, that's awesome.
Adding that in, yeah. So we've already with information you've given us, we've already been working on adding these things in so that our freelancers, you guys watching right now, can be more competitive in the market, and you can also increase your whatever rates you're charging right now.
Awesome. Jason, I had one question for you that I wanted to ask. So
Sure.
When it comes to increasing your rates, what would you say is a good general timeline to do that, right? So you have a certain skill set, you're becoming better and better at it, you're getting better at communication, you're having more clients. Is it 6 months where they can then bump $1 on? Is it a year? What's your kind of thoughts there? And I can share mine as well, but I was curious to hear what you had to think there.
put on the spot here. We didn't plan this beforehand, guys, so this isn't scripted. So I'm thinking for a little bit. But my general rule, like the easiest rule, I guess I that I follow, and I used to follow when I was freelancing a lot more, is whenever I'm working or towards the limit of the number of hours I want to work, that's a sign for me to increase my rates. So, for example, if I'm charging, let's say $15 an hour, and I'm working around 30 plus hours a week, and I say, okay, my max number of hours to work, to work every week is 40. If I'm at 30 plus, what I do is I'd say, hey, I'm kind of hot. I'm kind of in demand at this $15 an hour. So let me try increasing it to, like, let's say $20 or $25 an hour. And then what I did is I informed all my clients, hey, I'm increasing my rate. A couple would drop off. I'm not sure if I'm not telling you guys to do this, okay? Because not just for everybody. But I informed them. A couple of them would say, hey, that's like, we can't afford that. But it's something, moving forward, of course, you give them some notice, and then moving forward, you have a higher rate. And then just when I hit 30 plus hours again, it's a sign for me, hey, maybe it's time for me to increase my rate, and so on, until we reach the point that I'm not working as much, or in some cases where I'm getting a lot of no's. If I'm getting, let's say, more than 50% or more than 70% no's, then I'm thinking, hey, maybe I'm charging too high. But I always try to push the limits when it comes to my rates, just because it helps me gauge, because I know it's hard. Like a lot of you guys were asking, because it's hard to really gauge how much you're worth. So one way I do it is I test the limit and say, how much are clients willing to pay for this pay me for this set of skills, or to do this kind of work? And then just keep on pushing that limit.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. Love that strategy. And you never know sometimes too. I think it's great to test the limits, because you may run into a client that just isn't that concerned about price. You throw a number out there that you don't even think they would even consider paying, and they say, hey, this has been a great interview. I think you'd be a great asset. Let's move forward with that. So
and I have a story about that.
Share, please.
I have a short story about that. I created, and this is one thing I did before, is I created a YouTube guide for some software integration that basically no one else had. So I didn't even think I'd make money from it. So I created a YouTube guide, and people were sending the emails asking about it. So okay, let's have a call. And then, because this is something that pretty much no one else was offering, and at that time I wasn't really looking for clients, I said, okay, I'll talk to you for an hour for $300. And then most of the clients actually said yes to that, because no one else was doing what I was doing at the time. So you never know, just like Connor said.
Yeah, that's awesome. Love that story. Yeah, you never know. You might find yourself in a nice situation. Cool. So we can kind of wrap it all up here, and we can get into any other questions that anyone has, but I just want to kind of remember everyone what we went through today, and how you can go about setting that rate and maximizing the rates that you're making as a freelancer. So the first thing is, go ahead and do that industry research exercise. I think it will open your eyes a bit to see what other freelancers from your area with a similar skill set are charging on these different marketplaces. And, you'll be able to get a good average of what may be a good place for you. The second is, make sure you choose the hourly rate you want to earn. So don't get into situations where you're thinking about it every day, waking up, oh, why am I working at this rate for this client? Make sure you're happy before you commit to anything, and maybe even do trial runs. So as you get new clients, feel it out for a week, see how it is working with them. If they're disrespecting you in any way, or it isn't a fit, move away, find something else. There's thousands of clients out there that you're going to be able to find. The third thing is, be open to fixed pricing. So we have kind of said that it's very much the preference of you and the client. So be open to it, kind of hear out clients, see what their preference is, talk to them about it, and then figure out a good way to set that fixed pricing based off of an estimate of hours and your hourly rate, if they do want to go that route. And then the last thing is just continue to learn. Be passionate about what you're offering to clients. That's going to take you a long way. If you wake up every day and you're passionate about what you're doing, and you really love what you're offering to your clients, they're going to see it. They're going to recommend you to other people that they know, and it's going to really allow you to fill up your schedule and make that hourly rate that you want. So thanks a lot for having me today. I'm happy to take any questions. I gave you my email here. I'm happy to answer any questions that people have directly if they want to reach out to me. And yeah, thank you very much. Thanks, Jason, for having me on, and we can keep talking here and answer any questions.
Yep. Oh, okay. I was on mute. All right. Thank you so much, Connor, for taking this time with us, to discuss this really interesting topic. We do, and once again, guys, if you have any questions, just type them in the comments, and we'll answer them here. Mark Co had a question here, and this is, I guess, in regards to doing the industry research. Okay. Should we compare pricing from other countries like India, or I guess his question includes should we focus on our own geographical area?
Yeah, good question.
The Philippines.
Yeah, sure. So I think the Philippines will be the most relevant, but if you want to look at other countries, it doesn't hurt. Maybe have that as a separate list that you go through and you see, oh, hey, these 25 people from India or from another Asian country are charging this much, and make that comparison. And then you can kind of use that in your judgment. The more the research, the better, I would say.
Yep, agree. The more data points and the more information you have to compare, that's always better. All right. A lot of people thanking you here. Let me just check the Slack chat if we had other questions here. Yeah, these are Jenlyn. Yeah, you have a question here about the rate. Yeah. Once again, this is a specific question, and you can probably go back to earlier in the webinar to once you see the replay, so that you can get this question answered. Also, Jaya's question here, we'd have to do the research to really answer that question. Like, we can't give you the exact numbers of how much you should charge, but like Connor said, that's what this entire webinar is mostly about. And we can do that research and follow those tips. Can you go a slide back, Connor, so that you can?
Yeah, sure, of course.
You can see that. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So the industry research, choosing the hourly rate you want to earn, which is going to be based off that research. Most of those questions are around that area. Okay, so while we're waiting for more questions, we're going to stay on for. Are you okay to stay on for a couple more minutes?
Yeah, no worries. That sounds good.
We're going to stay on for a couple more minutes while we let you guys come up with your questions. But once again, just as a reminder to everybody, we're going to be collating this information, the slides, and we're going to put everything in one PDF for you guys. And if you want to get that, just share this and comment that you shared this, comment shared, so we're going to send that over to you.
Awesome.
And I guess this is the right time to make an announcement over here. FreeUp and WFHR, FreeUp, so I guess you can talk more about FreeUp, Connor?
Yeah, sure. I'll say a few words. Sure. So like I was saying earlier about my story, my business partner, Nathan, and I, we hired a lot from these other websites like Upwork and Odesk and Elance and Fiverr and Freelancer. And we did that for 2 to 3 years. And we hired some people. We found some real all-stars, but we also ran into a lot of turnover. We found that it was very hard to post jobs and then go through a ton of applicants and try to find the best one for our business. And we really wanted to create a better way that made it easier for business owners to find great talent, but then also less competitive for freelancers, since on those marketplaces, it can be tough when you're going up against 15 to 20 other people. And then it often leads to your hourly rates getting pushed down as well. And so FreeUp is a marketplace we started about 3 years ago. And the main thing that's different about us is we only allow the top 1% of freelance applicants into the network. So anyone can apply, anyone can look to join the network. And then we have an application and an interview process that everyone goes through. And then we only let in the top freelance talent. And then that freelance talent has direct access to over 5,000 clients that are using our platform to hire freelancers. So we're another platform out there that has a little bit of a differentiator, but we have a very big focus on helping the freelancers that get in succeed, and then also making the client experience as simple as possible.
Yeah, and from the feedback I've been hearing from FreeUp, from our students and from members, there is a lot of guidance for the freelancers in FreeUp compared to other platforms. And other platforms, you get in, and then you're just left to fend for yourself.
Right.
But FreeUp helps you. It kind of guides you a lot more. Especially when you're newer in the freelance world, or if you've had those experiences where you've just felt that there was no one out there to help you out. We've been getting good feedback about FreeUp
Awesome.
in those regards.
Yeah, we have an awesome internal team, many of who actually are from the Philippines, and they work very closely with freelancers as they're going through the process. And then once they're actually into the network, they're there to help them get their first clients, figure out how to actually use the software and start billing time. So it is more of a hands-on experience than some of the other marketplaces, for sure.
Yeah. And in this regard, we've seen that, WFHR, we do want work from home roadmap. We do want to partner with companies such as FreeUp, because this helps freelancers succeed. It helps our freelancers succeed. So as I mentioned earlier, we've been having an information exchange. So now we're adding these modules, but they're not ready right now, guys. Okay, so if you log in right now, you're not going to see them yet. I know some people are asking when. They're going to be available by mid-June. So we're working on them right now. They're going to be available by mid-June. We're having an e-commerce module which talks about top e-commerce sites, understanding e-commerce clients, your roles as an e-commerce VA, things like product sourcing, products research, drop shipping, product listing, product descriptions, like orders, returns, and website management. So all of that is in the e-commerce module. And we also have, we're going to be adding the Facebook ads module in the complete version of the course, which is going to include some theories and applications on Facebook ads for you guys. That's very exciting. We're also adding some tools that we found a lot of small business owners use, such as Trello and Asana, which are very common tools. So those will be added in by mid-June. We're also implementing a badge on the FreeUp profile for graduates of the bootcamp. You guys are going to have a special badge there, signifying. So it'll help you stand out, and it'll signify that you graduated from the bootcamp, which kind of gives you, which is proof that you have knowledge in these specific areas. So that's very exciting, and I'm very excited for this partnership that we're starting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think we can create more content like this too as new topics come up within the community. And we'll definitely have to introduce you guys to my business partner as well. He does a lot of webinars and loves talking about freelancing. So we're both very excited to be able to partner with Jason and this whole community. So thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, definitely. And guys, let us know, in the comments. I know a lot of you said thank you, but let us know what you thought about this. And we'll also send you an email, or if you got here through our chat bots, we're going to send you chatbot messages for feedback. But let us know in the comments, like what you thought about this, and like what other topics you would like to learn, because Connor and his team have been very gracious in that they've showed that they do want to help us out in the areas of these free webinars. And these are free webinars. Of course, we have a paid course, but these kind of webinars are free. Thank you so much, Connor. We've gotten a lot of people saying thank you.
Of course.
All right. We do have, there's a question here. Let me see. From Tet. Okay. Where can I get data for I'm just going to read here. I haven't screened these. Where can I get data for the hourly rate to set a reasonable rate? I'm in the US. Is there a freelance market for me here?
Got it. Yeah. So someone from the US, you can still use those same sites. I would just filter it for freelancers that are in the United States and use those rates as your kind of your data points to look at and kind of see. But Upwork, Hubstaff Talent, Fiverr, and People Per Hour have a lot of US freelancers as well. So those can absolutely be used still.
Okay. And Kristen, this is a little bit of a specific question, but you might be able to answer this. Let me know if it's if not. Kristen is asking how to charge if the job is for a specific skill like product listing in e-commerce. Others charge per hour, but some say it's better if it's per listing.
Yeah, good question. It is done both ways. I've seen freelancers have a per listing rate and then also an hourly rate. For me, it depends on what type of listing you're doing. So if you're, listing a product on Amazon as the first time it's being listed there is a lot different than listing a product through a Shopify store. Those are different beasts to handle, and it's probably going to take a different amount of time depending on your skill set and your experience with those. So I personally would go with hourly because I think it will allow you to get the most out of your own time that you spend on it. If you do it enough on a certain marketplace where you're like, oh, I know that I could list the product on Amazon in 2 hours, and you want to add a fixed rate to it and the client is more open to that, go that route. But I would say to start, until you actually have a really, really good understanding of how long it takes you, go ahead with hourly.
Okay, thank you. Al has a question here. I guess he's looking for tips. How can I increase my rate even though I'm currently hired with a client?
Yeah, those are tough waters, I would say. Going to a client and asking to increase your rate is always a tougher route to go. I would give it time first, right? So, give it a few months and really show them that you're a huge asset to your business. And then just in those situations, I think you just have to have an honest conversation with the client saying, I've gotten interest from other clients and my rate has started to increase. When I started working with you, I was here. I would like to increase to here. Is that something that you think we can do? I really value your business. I really value working with you. Can we make something like this happen? And kind of see what the conversation goes from there. You never know how the client's going to react. Like Jason said, he had some people that would drop off at certain times. And then it's kind of up to you and how much you value that relationship and how you want to move forward. But I think a very honest conversation after some time of working together is the best way to approach it.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Connor said. Give it some time. Like if you've just been working for that client for, a month or two, it might not be the right time to ask for a higher rate then. You have to build that trust and you have to prove yourself as somebody who is valuable to the client, even at that higher rate. Okay. Like Connor also said, you never know what the client's how they're gonna react. So when you have that conversation with them, you should be ready for them to say, I'm not open to that new rate, and you should be ready for them to let go of you. Okay, worst case scenario. If you're not open to that happening, it might not be the right time for you to have a conversation. Like if you let go of this client and you don't have any other clients either waiting in line or you don't know if other clients are going to get you at that rate, it might not be the wise decision to make. So you're going to have to kind of balance and weigh that.
Yeah, definitely agree.
All right. It doesn't look like we have any other questions. So yeah, it's about time to wrap it up. Oh, maybe we can move the slide forward so that they can get those links.
Of course.
All right. Connor he's as you can see here, he's very helpful. He's very willing. So you can contact him. Just don't flood him with emails. Okay. Just don't spam him with emails, but that's his direct email address, connor@freeup.com. I got confused at first because I was typing it in wrong. So take note, there are 3 E's in FreeUp. Yeah, I kept on making that mistake. Go to freeup.com. And you can sign up using that platform. If you're a student, give it wait a little bit. We have some announcements that we're going to make over in the students group of this, to get that badge and to even get some special privileges as a student when you're going through the applications process. So just hold on a bit, and we'll talk to you guys more about that. And once again, we're going to this replay will be available. It's going to be available on the Facebook page. We're also going to put it on the blog, and we're going to send out links via email and via the chat bot to you guys, so you can have that and just replay that. Especially if you missed the first half of the webinar where Connor talked about doing the research and comparing to be able to see how much you should charge. So you should just review that part. And we're also going to send the slides as well as a summary for everybody that shared this webinar. Do you have any closing words that you want to say?
Yeah, sure. So I think the biggest thing when it comes down to being a freelancer is you want to make sure that you're focusing on three things at all times, right? So these are kind of the things that I like to look for when I'm hiring freelancers. So the first is your skill set. So always be working to grow your skill set, become really great at it. And like I was saying, become pretty much an industry expert in that skill set so that you're always moving forward. The second thing is your attitude. I think this is a huge one. Be very positive. Be passionate about being a freelancer. Show your personality when you're talking to clients, and really show them that you're going to be a great asset to their team and to what they're doing. That goes a really long way. And then the third thing is communication. Always work on your communication strategies and make sure that you're in touch with clients on a regular basis, and they know what you're up to, you know what they want you to do, and you're always on the same page. So those are just three things to think about as you're continuing to freelance.
All right. Those are some really good pointers for you. If you're taking notes, those were good things to take note of. Or if you're watching the replay, you have a chance to rewind to that, or you can watch it later once this webinar is done. All right. Thank you so much once again, Connor. Oh, by the way, for you guys that don't know, it's actually he started with this webinar at 7 in the morning. So
right.
It's really early. He's over in is that Mountain Time?
Yeah, Mountain Time. Yeah,
Mountain Time. It's 8 o'clock now, but he started at 7 o'clock. So thank you so much, Connor. You took the time early in the morning to discuss this with us, and everyone appreciates it here. Awesome. Thank you guys for staying on. You're very welcome, and we'll see you guys next time.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.